Hi, I'm Jenny Kawaja, and today we are going to make gluten-free chocolate chip cookies. Now when I think about chocolate chip cookies, I think rich, complex, a little bit dense, a little bit chewy, a little bit crispy, and loaded with chocolate chips. Now in my recipes, not only do I not have gluten, but I also try to eliminate xanthan gum. So let's start with butter. Butter, you can either cream the butter or melt the butter. Creaming the butter is going to give you a light and airy cookie, and melting the butter is going to give you a dense cookie. I'm looking for dense cookies, so in this recipe I am melting the butter. We are also going to take the amount of butter down compared to a regular chocolate chip cookie recipe. I use a combination of light brown sugar and white sugar. The brown sugar brings in molasses, which is going to help give a dense and chewy cookie. The molasses is also going to react with the chemical leavener to create a little bit of lift. For eggs and a low liquid treat like a cookie, I like to think about eggs as two separate ingredients, egg whites and egg yolks. Egg whites are going to give a cakier texture to this cookie. Egg yolks are going to give a denser texture to the cookie. So for this recipe, I actually peeled out the egg whites. So this is an egg yolk only cookie. Baking soda versus baking powder. Baking soda is going to give the cookie a rougher texture, and baking powder is going to give the cookie a smoother texture. For this recipe, I went with a baking powder. Now, the remaining ingredients are your cream and your water. Cream helps give a beautiful smoothness to this cookie, and water, we have to add a little bit of water back into the recipe in order to dissolve the sugar properly and also hydrate the flours properly. Hydrating the flours helps to reduce grittiness in gluten-free baking. For your chocolate chips, use a combination of milk chocolate chips and semi-sweet chocolate chips, and you are good to go. So to pull this recipe together, melt your butter. This is a low heat melt. This is not browning your butter. Mix it for about 3 minutes with your sugars, and then add your egg yolk and your vanilla. Mix again for another 3 minutes, and then add your flour and your baking powder and your salt. And really, for this chocolate chip cookie, sea salt is what you want to be using. Lastly, you're going to fold in your chocolate chips. Pull your dough together and then grab your 2-inch scooper and then evenly space the cookies on a sheet tray lined with either a Silpat mat or parchment paper. Refrigerate your cookies for at least 2 hours or overnight. The longer you can refrigerate, up to 2 days, the better. It does help the flavors develop, and it just gives a more complex tasting cookie. And then to bake the cookie, set your oven temperature to 325 degrees convection bake or 350 degrees regular bake, and bake for about 10 to 15 minutes or until the edges start to brown. This recipe is ratioed off 1 extra large egg yolk. If you wanted to double the recipe, double the egg yolk and then multiply the rest of the ingredients by 2. With that, enjoy and happy baking.